Empire.
It's crunch time in the NFL. 2 weeks left and then the postseason. So we wanted to view things and how they're shaping up through a coach's eyes. What's up, everybody? It's Mike Jones. Thanks for coming back for another episode of the Football Jones podcast. You can read me at usatoday.com. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram @ByMikeJones. And as I said, we've got a special guest, former NFL head coach Dave Wannstedt, now a member of Fox's NFL Kickoff pregame show. And so we're going to break it down. As you know, or in case you didn't know, Dave, former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, the Chicago Bears. So he's going to give us perspective. He is based in Chicago, so he's going to give us perspective on how things are shaping up for the Bears and why he thinks they are going to make the playoffs. And then talk about some teams that he likes, talk about some teams that kind of scare him, and he comes close to giving us a prediction on how this is all going to finish off. So here we go, my visit with Coach Wannstedt. All right, Coach. Hey, thank you so much. Welcome to the Football Jones podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Mike. Yes, I'm here in Chicago now, and it's you wouldn't have said, I couldn't have said this to you in all honesty 4 or 5 weeks ago, but it's kind of an exciting place to be right now. I mean, the Bears have caught fire, and the city's all excited about it. So it's gone from we're going to fire everybody from the president to the kicker to now let's go to the Super Bowl. So it's good. Everything's good. You know, trying to stay safe and like everybody.
Yeah. Now, before we get to everything else, we're talking about the Bears. What do you attribute this surge to? Because, like you said, this didn't seem possible. I mean, the fact that Mitch Trubisky is playing as well as he is, when got benched, early in the year. How do you explain this?
You know what? I am on record. As you know, we talked about it. Or I do a couple radio shows and a couple of TV spots here during the week, and I am on record in August when they were getting ready, trying to decide: is it going to be Foles? Is it going to be Trubisky? And I am on record, and I believe this to the day and I said, I think it should be Trubisky because from a defensive perspective, he puts more stress on a defense because he's got a stronger arm. He can run the ball. You can move him out of the pocket. And I said, but the key is that Matt Nagy, the head coach, they need to have an offense that gives him the best chance to be successful. Well, guess what? They started Trubisky, but it was the drop back pass, and that's not his cup of tea. And even though they were undefeated when they benched him, he was struggling a little bit. And then Nick Foles came in, and Nick's a great guy. We all love Nick, but he's a great backup, I think. And so then when he gets banged up, they put Mitch in there, and Matt Nagy gives up the play calling. So you got two things happening at one time. You got a quarterback, Mitch is coming back, and you got Bill Lazor, the offensive coordinator, is going to call plays. And if you watch the Bears play now, I mean, it's play action, it's run, it's move them in the pocket, and everything that this kid can do. So, it was a great strategy, and I think Mitch is confident now, and they've gone from from 16 points a game since they've made the changes to now they're like 30 points a game. Wow. So they've doubled it. Yeah, doubled it. Yeah.
How difficult or easy is it to be a head coach and give up those play calling duties like that when that's kind of what your calling card is?
Yeah, that's what you were hired to do, right? I mean, that's why you were brought in here. It doesn't happen a lot. Andy Reid obviously did it when Matt Nagy was there, but they were winning, and and he says, I'm going to basically give you an opportunity to do it. I don't know how, even with Andy Reid's situation, how many plays is is Matt Nagy really calling? Who knows? So I think that's why he got hired, and that was difficult for him. But I give him credit for this. And he said this when he made the change. He says, "I am all about doing what's best for this football team, and I'm basically putting my ego aside. And if the best thing for this team is somebody else calling the plays with a little bit different mentality, then that's what we're going to do." And the next week he did it.
Gotcha. So you feel like they have a chance to make the playoffs?
I do. Everyone's got to remember that the Bears have the tiebreaker on the Arizona Cardinals. So the Cardinals have the 49ers. The Cardinals are up one game on them, but they have the 49ers and the Rams. So let's say they win one of those two, and they end up with 9 wins. The Bears are sitting here now with 7 wins, and they've got Jacksonville and Green Bay. But who knows? So they'll beat Jacksonville this week. They get their 8. And then, can they beat the Packers? Sure, they can. It's going to be here in Soldier Field. And maybe Aaron Rodgers, maybe they got home field locked up and he doesn't even play. Who knows?
Right.
So, but my point is that if the Bears can win these next 2 and Arizona splits, they're both going to end up with 9-7 records, but the Bears would go to the playoffs. So that's their way in, and that's the buzz around town here.
Gotcha. How big would that be for them and for Trubisky to get to the postseason after the turmoil early in the year?
Well, and I know this, Mitch's contract, they got to make a decision on him. And 5 weeks ago, it was a matter of, we're not going to pay him. And I tell you what, that's a good question, because it's not really as much about just Mitch. If they could go to the playoffs, this is going to save a lot of jobs. It's going to save Matt Nagy's job. It's going to save Ryan Pace, the general manager. They're talking about making a change with the president, Ted Phillips. So, winning's a great deodorant, we used to say, and you win, and all of a sudden the bad things that happen and the smelly things that happen, everybody forgets about those. So I think these next couple games have a lot to do with a lot of people, from Mitch on to the president, really.
But I guess it's tricky because you have to make sure you don't start overestimating how good things are and then become complacent as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and they could do that. Mitch is capable, and I like him. He's capable of going out there and throwing 3 picks this week. I don't see it happening, but that can happen. Last week they beat the Vikings last week in Minnesota, and the whole talk in Bears country was playoff mentality, which it was. Winner was basically out. The Vikings are out now. So, it was playoff mentality on the road, and they win the game. So there could be a little bit of a letdown, particularly when you're playing Jacksonville.
Right. Exactly. So, I want to get your perspective also from a coach's perspective. There's a lot of hand-wringing and dismay by the Jets fan base and even media who cover the Jets that they got that win. But my point of view is like, look, these players don't know if they're going to be there next year. These coaches don't know. They don't care about a draft pick. They're just trying to, do their jobs and audition for the future. As a coach, and that your team's in a situation, what's your message to your guys and how do you handle that?
Yeah, I think you're right on. Everybody's there, and I've had a couple bad teams, particularly, and when we start off 0-5, 0-6 or something, and the last thing on your mind is the draft. These coaches are trying to, and we always tell the players, hey, keep in mind, you are not just playing for the team. Like, let's use Jacksonville or the Jets. You're not just playing for the people here to evaluate you with the Jets. You're playing for all 32 teams. Every general manager, every owner, every head coach is going to be watching your team. Well, it's the same thing for coaches. You're being evaluated as a coach. And even if you do get fired in this league, if people are watching, and if you do a good job and do everything you can, you'll get another opportunity somewhere. So, I get the fans' perspective. I do. I mean, I understand, if I was a Jets fan, I might have kicked my TV or kicked my dog too. I mean, because Trevor Lawrence, I personally think that he's by far the best player in this year's draft. And, now it's up to Jacksonville. So we'll see what happens. But trust me, the coaches and players all look at this thing as, I don't care about next year here. I don't care about, I'm playing to perform and coach as good as I can coach and play, because it's on tape and people are going to be talking about this. So, and the crazy thing is the Jets thing. I mean, they did some good things. And this week, I heard positive things about Sam Darnold. 2 weeks ago, he was done. He couldn't play. Nobody wanted him. Where's he going next? And now all of a sudden you beat the Rams. And this week I talked to 2 or 3 guys and they're saying, oh, I think they don't care because now they know that Darnold can do the job there. So, it turns that quick. It really does.
Gotcha. Another thing this past week that was very surprising was Pittsburgh's loss to Cincinnati. What do you make of the state of the Steelers right now? Started off the season so great, and it seems like it has been a real fizzle.
Yeah, and the tough thing is, and I coached at the University of Pittsburgh, as you know, for 6 years, and we share facilities with the Steelers. They're on one half of the building with their offices and stuff. We're on the other half. They got 2 practice fields, and we got 2. They bump right up next year. So I became very good friends with Mike Tomlin. In fact, we joined arms and did a couple charity things together in the city. And I know the mentality of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the most disappointing thing to me is their lack of running the ball. And I remember, when Jerome Bettis was there, I mean, even when they were not very good in other areas, they were physical and ran the football. And everyone's saying, well, in last week, and I said this on our Fox show, I don't see Ben under center. I see Aaron Rodgers under center. I see Tom Brady under center. I see Patrick Mahomes. I don't see Aaron Rodgers or Ben Roethlisberger. Well, guess what? Last week, he gets under center 1 snap and he fumbles the ball. Against Cincinnati, Monday night. So, and that was the end of it. So, I mean, to run the ball effectively, you got, in my opinion, those running backs, the only way, and this is a little bit of a football thing here, you got to keep in mind when the quarterback's in the shotgun and your running back is sitting next to you, you basically, and you can run a half a dozen plays, but the only real effective play is from a defensive perspective. Are we handing it to the running back or is the quarterback keeping it? It's almost got to be a double threat to really get that effect. And, you see that with most of the teams. You don't see that with, obviously, Ben's not going to run the ball.
Right.
So to me, if I'm a running back, you're really limited with what you can do with in that offense the whole time.
Yeah.
And then everybody says Ben's not throwing the ball down the field. There's no question that he can throw the ball down the field. But if I'm a defensive back, the only way that I am going to be faked out or committed to come up and let somebody get deep on me is if there's a real threat of the running game. No running game, no threat deep. I mean, to me, they intertwine each other. And a lot of people don't understand that. And we never had a problem we never got the ball thrown deep on us when we were facing a team that did not run the ball. It should never happen. Now, you start running the ball, all of a sudden I got to start getting the safety down in there. We got to start rolling the coverage. We got to start doing some things. And that's when you open yourself up for a play action pass. So the Steelers got no running game. They got no play action pass. I hope, and then their defense is beat up on top of it now. Right. So I don't know if the Steelers will win another game, including the playoff game. I don't see anybody that I would say, if I was a betting man, that I like Pittsburgh. I mean, I don't like them this week against Indy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't like them the last game of the season against Cleveland. And I don't know who they're going to play in the playoffs, but it doesn't matter. The way they're playing right now, it's bad. And you know, and I think too, I don't know if they're as mature a team. You know, that receiver group, what have they done? They've dropped 10 passes more than any other team in the league. That's just lack of concentration. That's immaturity. You know, I don't know. There's a little bit of disconnect there somewhere. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a shame. It really is.
And that's not something you can kind of quickly fix, like turning on that mental switch that's changing everything.
I don't think you can't run the ball overnight. I know that you can, because to be a good running team, and I got fired a couple of places for running it too much with Ricky Williams and those guys. But let me tell you something. I know about the running game, and you gotta start day one, and you gotta be thinking it. You got to be talking it, and you got to be doing it. That's how you become a committed, good running team. You don't just all of a sudden walk in there as a coach and draw up 3 running plays and say, okay, we're gonna dominate and run the ball this week. It doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, because everybody's got to be in sync, the line and the timing and everything like that.
Yeah, and in defense of the Steelers, they are playing with 3 offensive linemen that are new starters from week 1. So they have, you know, on top of everything else, they have done that. And you know, and to me, it looks like Ben, you know, sure, everybody wants to protect Ben, but this 3-step drop stuff, it's protecting Ben. He's not getting hit much, but boy, I think that's a little bit of a problem too. I mean, I think they're being overly cautious with him.
Hey there. The holidays are here, so it's good to know Kroger can save you some time with free pickup on all your fresh favorites. Whether your traditions call for a hearty helping of juicy ham, ample apple pie, or Aunt Sue's legendary twice-stuffed stuffing, Kroger has got you covered. So order for free pickup at Kroger.com or the app and get more time to get your holiday on when you grab your groceries curbside. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Free pickup on orders of $35 or more. Restrictions may apply.
It's almost that time when you put your name in a grid and hope that your box hits the final score. But you don't have to wait until February to start winning. With Boxes, you can play box pools every day for every game. Boxes is completely free to play, and you win big. Fans who download the app at the App Store or go to boxes.com, that's BOXIZ.com, and use my code BALL20 can enter our contest, where the lucky winner with the final score to the Colts-Steelers game will receive $100. We'll have new games every week and incredible prizes in the playoffs. And for the big game, that will include tickets to games next year when fans can finally return in 2021. So go to boxes.com for more info or download the app now. BOXIZ. Use the code BALL20 when you sign up and when you enter our contest for the Indy-Pittsburgh game. It's free for you and your friends to get in and win. Boxes. It's anyone's game.
So what do you think happens with that division there? I mean, Cleveland's doing well, but they play Baltimore. Seems like they're surging as well.
Baltimore, to me, is the hottest team right now. And I think what they did about 3 weeks ago, they just decided that, you know what, because they started off the season and they wanted to be balanced, and that's all they were. We're going to throw it 25 times, and we're going to run it 25 times. And it wasn't happening. And I think their defense was on the field more. You know, last year they led the NFL in possession time, holding on to the ball, in addition to a couple other categories, rushing and so forth. And then it seemed like 2 or 3 weeks ago, they just said, you know what, Lamar, we'll call run pass plays. You do what you think is best. And all of a sudden, if the passes there, and he's going to hit some play action passes, but they're playing faster now. They're playing faster now, and it's helped their defense. And to me, they're the hottest team in the division. You know, Cleveland, though, I think that Cleveland's sitting there, and they might be the hungriest team. You know, because if they can win this week, I'm not sure who they have this week, Mike.
They've got the Jets this week. The Jets this week.
So the Jets are so happy that they won a game, and that's off their back. That Cleveland's going to beat the Jets this week.
And then they play Baltimore at the end.
or Pittsburgh. Yeah, Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh,
right?
sorry, Pittsburgh, yeah.
Yeah. Pittsburgh, Cleveland at the end. And I think that all the focus and where's that game at? Is that in Pittsburgh or
That
Cleveland?
one's, I believe that's Cleveland.
In Cleveland, maybe, yeah. But anyway, regardless, it's I think they're the hungriest team. I think Baltimore is the hottest team right now, and Pittsburgh's just hanging on for the playoffs.
Yeah, yeah. So, do you see a scenario where all three of those get into the postseason? I know Baltimore.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, in my mind, Pittsburgh's in already. We know that, and Cleveland's in, and I think Baltimore has a chance. They really do, a good chance.
Is there anyone who can really give Kansas City a real run for their money?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm a big Titans fan.
Okay.
And I just think, keep in mind now, last week, they didn't beat them, but I think it was last week or the week before, someone got 3 turnovers away from Kansas City, and they still didn't win the game.
Right.
Okay, Patrick Mahomes and those guys. But I like the style of team that the Titans are, that they can control the clock. I think they have the biggest, most scoring team in the NFL right now. They're first or second. No one believes that because they look at Derrick Henry and say, "Oh, you're three plays in a cloud of dust." They're first or second in scoring or offense in the entire NFL right now, and they're number 1 in turnover margin, so they don't turn the ball over. They're tied for first with the Colts. So I kind of like even though their defense is average, I kind of like their offense, that they can hold on to that football and play some keep away. And I think a team like that is going to challenge them a little bit. I really do. I think that'll be good. As far as getting into a shootout with them, I don't know. Maybe if Aaron Rodgers is hot, Green Bay. When you look at the NFC, I'm not sure about New Orleans right now. My team that I want to like in the whole NFC is the Rams. I mean, I love their defense.
Yeah.
But boy, Jared Goff has just been so inconsistent, that I just if Seattle wins this week, Seattle wins that division. So I don't know. I think that Green Bay, because of their potential explosiveness and their balance, Aaron Jones running the ball, he's a top 10 running back this year. I think that Green Bay would probably be the team that might be able to go, swing for swing with them.
Gotcha. What do you make of Jared Goff? Because, man, I tell you, there are games where he looks like he is comfortable, and then there are games where he just looks like a guy that you really can't believe in.
Well, 3 weeks ago, Sean McVay made the comment after the game. He said, and I was reading between the lines, he said, all our quarterback has to do is not turn if someone's open, hit them, and not turn the football over. And because they had lost that game, I forget to whoever. And Sean McVay has really kind of molded an offense to give Jared Goff the best chance to be successful. That's what they do. They run the ball, they play defense, and they throw play action passes.
Right.
He's got to be better than that, but unfortunately he goes back, and I watched him a lot in college when he was at Cal, and he would have big games and put up 400 yards passing, and then he would come back the next week and throw 3 picks. So inconsistency really has been with him all along.
Gotcha. And I mean, is there anything you can do for a guy like that, or is that just basically who he is?
I think it's who he is. I think some of those guys get on streaks and they play really bad for 2 weeks, and then they have 2 weeks of being really hot. I think the Rams just got to hope that this week against Seattle, Seattle's not very good in the pass defense. In fact, they're 32nd, I think, in the league, that this week they'll be able to throw the ball. I mean, he's going to have to do it if they're going to win.
Gotcha. Do you believe in the Bucs? Do you feel like they have a chance at all? You didn't name them as as either one of those teams, but what do you make of them?
You know what? I didn't name them, and I want them. I'm a Bucs fan. I'm a Brady fan, a Bruce Arians fan, but I'm not sure what the Bucs are going to do this week. I can tell you what the Titans are going to do. I can tell you what the Rams are going to do. I can tell you what Seattle's going to do. I can tell you what Kansas City's going to do, but I cannot tell you what the Bucks are going to do. And I know Bruce said we do have an identity and we can do whatever we want. Well, I agree with them. They can hit Antonio Brown for a 60-yard touchdown like they did last week. And Aaron Jones, they could have a game that they run for 150 yards. But you win games maybe that way, but I don't know if you can win a championship because I don't know what they do consistently good, and that makes me a little nervous. And their defense, I'll tell you what, early in the year, their defense I thought was dominant. But if you look at them the last couple of weeks now, they're giving up some yards and some points and some plays. The defense to me has to get a little bit better. And hopefully offensively they zero in on, okay, this is what we're going to do for these next couple of weeks and into the playoffs.
Why would you I've wanted this question. If you got a guy like Brady, why not just turn the reins over and say, hey dude, what do you like to run? What are you most successful at with our guys, and go do it?
Yeah, well, they're probably trying to do that to a degree.
Okay.
I mean, that's a tough one. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because with Tom's experience and everything, for them to win, he has to be comfortable and he has to be executing.
Right.
I don't know. I'm sure they're doing that to some degree.
Yeah. And I know it's easier said than done, when you have that perspective, that's what I wonder.
And Bruce being an offensive guy and him having coached, Ben and Andrew Luck and Peyton Manning and all those guys, he's that's kind of his wheelhouse too, So if it was a defensive coach, it'd probably be a lot easier.
Okay.
Just to say, hey, you work it out with the coordinator, you and Tom figure it out. But now you got Bruce, and it's a little bit more challenging, I think.
Gotcha. All right, Coach. Well, in closing, what's your prediction for the playoffs for the Super Bowl? Can we get it? Have you made your picks up in your mind yet?
I have. I think it's going to be what I just said earlier. I think it's going to be Kansas City and Green Bay.
Okay.
And if you look close at Green Bay's defense, they're a little bit like Kansas City. They potentially rise to the occasion. You'd say, okay, they're a middle of the pack defense. Both of these teams, when they have to rise up, they got enough talent, I believe, both teams, that they can rise up and help their offense get over the top. And, I know it's all about Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, but both these teams can run the ball. Mm-hmm. And Andy Reid, and, the one game he ran it, and now they're getting Le'Veon Bell going a little bit. And like I said, Aaron Jones is one of the least talked about great running backs in this league. No one, because of Aaron Rodgers, it's all about him, not about the running game. Right. So my point is that both these teams could beat you running the football. And Aaron Rodgers, we see Patrick Mahomes make big runs. He's a great athlete, young kid. But Aaron Rodgers is not a stiff. He's not one of those guys that it's either going to be pass complete or he's going to fall down. And we've seen him this year, make some plays with his feet. So right now, I think Drew Brees is struggling. We talked about Tampa. We're going to find out this week. It's either Seattle or the Rams. As much as I'd like to say the Rams, we just talked about Jared Goff, right? I mean, who's going to, the Pittsburgh thing's kind of gone in the tank. And even if I put kind of Lamar and Baker, they're different quarterbacks, different guys. But I put both those guys in a playoff game. I'm not sure what either one does, right? You know what I mean? At least you got a good feel what Patrick Mahomes going to do. Baker Mayfield, just because I haven't seen him do it, and Lamar's got to get over that hump. He's got to go into a big playoff game and win it. I mean, that's just the reality of it. So I would stay with Kansas City and Green Bay.
And Kansas City winning it, Green Bay winning it?
Oh, man. I'm not there yet. Give me another week.
All right.
Call me back in a week, Mike.
All right. Sounds good. Coach, so I thank you so much for your time. Happy holidays to you and your family. And everybody check out the Fox pregame show with Coach and everybody.
Okay, yeah, 11 o'clock Eastern time. Tune in to Fox, everybody. You're going to get the best information on the day and the weekend coming up of any station. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
There we go. Thanks, Coach. Have a great one.
You too, buddy.
All right. I hope you guys have a great holiday weekend. Hope you all are safe, well, and happy. It's a special time of year, so let's make sure we hold those near and dear to us very tightly. And as always, there's another exciting week of NFL action on tap. And so I'm going to tune in to all of it, and then we'll break it all down again next week. Thanks again for listening. Do me a favor, go on iTunes, leave me a rating and review, and share this link with some friends of yours. And I'll talk to you guys again next time.